Thank you everybody for joining us. Today is Thursday, the 13th of June. Thank you very much. We have got a disclaimer, non-disclaimer, and essentially it boils down to we're all adults. Whatever we choose to do is our own choice to do, and only we know what's right for us. All right. I'm going to hand over to our educator, and that is Zita this evening. Zita, welcome and take over.
Thank you, Shaka, and welcome everybody. And well, I think Shaka's done a beautiful intro. And as you can see on the cover page, what we're doing today, I think let's dive right in. We're going to be completing our document formalities. Now, all of us, or most of us, or most of you, I assume, have completed your emancipation documents online or on your computer, and you're sitting now with the ready-made documents, and you think, okay, after this it'll be easy, because there were quite a few challenges in the process, and we all been through those. And you think, I'm through the worst, and then suddenly you realize autographing, fingerprinting, it sounds and seems simple, but there are so many questions. And that is what we want to do with today. We shall be going through all those steps, including witnessing, copying, posting, and all those questions. You will have time afterwards to ask more questions. And yeah, let's see. So with any process, before you start, you have to gather your stationery. This is what you need in order to post your documents, to print, witness. And it sounds like a daunting list, but I made it here on the list. On the left, it's your blue pen, your red pen, a red ink pad, red ink, a ream of A4 paper. You won't be using all of those, but just have it with you. 4 A4 envelopes, a plastic sleeve, 4 registered post stickers, a post office parcel list, your stamps, your stapler, and your yamalapi. The next question I get asked, what are these post office documents and the registered post stickers? And I've spent a bit of time pondering whether I should include these in the stationery list or not. Strictly speaking, the post office will do these steps for you. However, the numbers need to be right, and we are moving into being more emancipated, sovereign, and we have to take responsibility and essentially be accountable for what we send off. And I always believe that I will make sure my numbers match and correspond, and it will be 100% correct. And I didn't want to leave that to a post office teller to do, and no disrespect to them, they all do a beautiful job, but I just feel it's something that you can do. That will mean an extra trip to the post office where you request this. This is a block on the left. It's called COD, insured or ordinary, where you fill in your sender or your recipient. And on the left, on the right are your post office stickers. Those numbers are actually quite crucial. Your TA number, PE number. Now, because our post office is, or many post offices are in a state of bankruptcy, they're closing down left, right, and center. You want a registered letter sticker, but you don't always get it. I got these two on 2 different days and spent sleepless night thinking, but I sent an ordinary parcel and not a registered parcel. And went to them and said, but it was supposed to be registered, and I was in a state thinking I'd made a mistake. And they said, no, we just ran out of registered stickers. The important thing is your PE number, and as long as that corresponds, it still went registered. So that is something you can just request from them. Get your paperwork, and we will. They're very kind. When you tell them you need this, they give you a little block. They even give you tracing paper. They're very kind. So you have that. You also have to buy your stamps. You have to insist on stamps. They sometimes say they don't have, and you just dig a little bit and say, yeah, but I really need them. I can't have your thermal paper print out. We need the real McCoy. We want to see the leopard. They will then give it to you. Here are the costs, which they are at the moment. They do change from time to time. And I see you need it's an addition now, a R1 stamp for your deed of reconveyance. You need to get that extra, and they will give you this kind of stamp. They will tell you the B5 is worth, I think, 12 Rand something or so, and you need a certain amount of those. That you just work it out backwards, and you go home with those, because it's much better putting stamps on your envelope and doing all that work. It's easier. You're in your environment that is known. It's much better to do it at home than having to stand at the post office and do it there. Okay, so you've gathered all your documents, or all your stationery. Now it's the time for printing. And I always say to everyone, just go over all your documents again, scan over them quickly, just be your own editor or scribe. Maybe you've missed something, got a date wrong. I've seen people write their birth dates wrong, and it happens. It's just one of those things. So once you are happy, you change all your text to black, and you then print out your set of document once. That will be your original that you now start autographing and witnessing. You also obviously need your 2 witnesses. You may now initial and thumbprint the marked documents. Now, here are a few points to consider. Your ink is very strong, and it seeps through your paper, and it goes often through to the next page, soiling your second page. And we've all done that the first time. I did in the first trial runs, that I did our thumbprints, and it squished through to the next side, and we had to then reprint because it just looks untidy. So you have various options. You can either place a thick plastic sheet underneath your page, or you go onto a wipeable surface, your kitchen table or your counter or something like that. The other thing, because we don't fingerprint and autograph next to our fingerprint, it's quite daunting the first time. So we get everybody to practice. You just have a piece of scrap paper, you stick your thumbprint on, you autograph next to it. You will see that sometimes you get it right, and sometimes in the beginning you get it wrong. Until you feel confident, you just practice it a few times, and you are then ready to go onto your original. What I've done now is I've made a copy of every single document that we are submitting, and to show how you have to autograph. So who's emancipating, you put your thumbprint in red, and you autograph and initial the pages that you have to initial in red. Your witnesses, they initial and autograph in blue. There's been lots of talk. Must it be purple? Must it be blue? Should it be red? What color must it be? And I think it doesn't really matter. Our first ones all went out as purple. A lot of this is intent. The only color you should not use is black. So use that as a rule of thumb. We have now decided that we stick to the red and the blue for the witnesses. And you can see here on the cover sheet on the left page, which is page 1 of 2, Master to the High Court, you have got everybody's initial, because there is no autograph on page 1, and only on page 2, Mary Jane Doe autographs, and the 2 witnesses, they initial on the bottom right-hand side. The other thing that I can see here is that I didn't mention. What I've done in order to make our documents and make it easier at the Commission of Oaths is my footers. So I say page 1 of 2 and page 2 of 2, and it's number 1, Master of the High Court. The reference I put in there is the initial for whoever it is you're doing it for. The reason I do that is that we sometimes emancipate groups of between 7 to 16 people. And when we do the printing, it's just to make life easier and to identify, because you start learning to just look at the bottom page. Whose documents are these? If you're a family that's emancipating, husband and wife maybe, you will also be very happy to have that initial at the bottom, because pages do get confused and mixed up. It just happens. Okay, this page is also very easy. It's a repeat of page 1 of the Master of the High Court. This is to the SARS Commissioner. Same thing, signatures at the bottom, and autographs and initials at the bottom. And we have another repeat here for the Minister of Finance. Those are your 3 cover pages. Now we get to the deed of reconveyance. And here is a new addition that lots of us haven't done, but it's probably one of the most important documents in your emancipation process. It's your acknowledgement, acceptance, and deed of reconveyance. And there we have now placed a stamp, a 1 Rand stamp at the top right-hand corner, and you sign it like you can see Betty Ann Boob or whatever your name is, and the date at the bottom. And that is how you stamp it. And that makes you, Shaka, you can correct me, that makes you postmaster. Is that right?
Yeah. And we write the date out. We don't put the numbers in, and we put your first name in. You write your non-slave name in. So if you've got a double barrel first name, it will be Betty Ann. And then you can put in Boob, but you'll write it diagonally across the stamp and diagonally across the stamp with the date written out.
Yeah, I enlarged that stamp so you can all see that nice and clear. And that's a very exciting addition. And I think for all of you who are doing it, and for those who've already done this process and you think, oh my goodness, I haven't got that stamp on, you must not worry about it. We are evolving, we are learning, we are improving and perfecting the process. It's something that just we add as we go along. And it's always your intent. That everybody must remember that. Okay, and then again, you have your thumbprint and your autograph. And if you look at that again, you got your thumbprint and the name written away from your thumbprint, and it's slightly obstructing the thumbprint, your autograph, but not fully. But it must touch your thumb. At the bottom are the witnesses with their autographs and their names written out in printed letters, and you can see they're using their slave names. Here we have our next documents, and it's really a repeat. You all initial at the bottom because no one is autographing, so these 2 pages are being initialed. That's the next set of documents, and only on your 3rd document you have your name, Mary Jane Doe, written in the bonded way, and autograph with thumbprint below that, and again your witnesses. So obviously nobody will be initialing that page. Next one, expatriation, same thing. It'll all be repeat, but I sometimes believe that repeat does help, that you all feel later on, oh, well, we've got this. And here we have, again, your cancellation of your power of attorney and your claim of life and estate on the next page on this other side. And you have here your witnesses. So here you have only witnesses, and that's why you have to initial below. It does happen that people get because what you will be doing in the process, you will be thumbprinting all your pages, then you will be autographing, and then you will be doing the initialing. Then your witnesses will be autographing and initialing one after the other, and that sometimes happens, that people initial every single page, even the page on which they have already autographed and written their name. It's not the end of the world, you just did it double. Don't stress too much, and please don't print everything out again. It's okay. It won't invalidate your process. Your mandatory notice of liability. Here you have just one autograph and the 2 initials. And there come your baby deed of land recording. You have that here, very much the same, and that will be the end. Remember, if you have 2, 3, 4 children under the age of 21, each child gets its own deed of land recording that you do on their behalf. So you will be adding the pages as you go. And that will be your full set of emancipation papers that are now autographed, thumbprinted, and witnessed. And that is then done. That's when you start, that's when you need your yamalappi to clean your thumb, because it can be quite messy. So once you've done your witnesses, you've all done your job, comes the printing and the copying. And something where I've made so many mistakes that I've copied too many times. So you need to just keep your wits about you a little bit. It's very easy, and that's why it's so easy to make too many copies. You make one, oh yes, and that is something where you also need to decide. You can either make full color copies of your full set for all 4 copies that you're going to be posting. Alternatively, if you are, because color copies are super expensive, you can use this option here. You make one color copy of your full original set of emancipation documents, and that will be the set you email to yourself. That I always would do full color. Then you make one black and white copy of each of your letters to government, those 2 cover notes letters. You just make a black and white copy of each of those. And then you make 3 black and white copies of your emancipation documents, all your letters. No, you should not staple them. I made a mistake there. Sorry, that's wrong. We don't staple them yet. Stapling comes at the end. Apologies, guys, I wrote that wrong. Don't staple anything yet. All you have to do is place your original into the plastic sleeve, because that is yours, and that will not be touched by any stamp or commission of oaths. That must stay original and clean, and that is your master copy. If you have questions about this later on, we can come back to that. Now we have to address our envelopes, and you complete the post office stickers and ensure they correspond with the post office number on your emancipation documents. Now I'm going to skip back quickly. I don't know if I put that on here. Excuse me here. I'm just going to pop back to our first letter. Yeah, at the top here, can you see the RD000123456789? ZA. This, I hope everyone can see that at the top right-hand corner of this document. This is your post office docket number. So this will be going to the office of the SARS Commissioner. And if we go back to here, where we're going to, apologies for that. So when we fill in those post office stickers, that number must correspond. You need to fill it in by hand onto that sticker. I'm going to show you now. You complete your post office parcel list and ensure you have carbon paper between the first 2 sheets. You place the sticker named customer copy on the first or the original page of the book copy. On the carbon copy, because you always keep your original. So even the form you fill in, that is yours, and that will be yours. That will not be the book copy, that will be the customer copy. And you put your postal address at the back of the envelope. So let's see how that looks. Here is how you put stickers on. I got this off the website of the post office. So your postage area is at the top. You leave a 50 millimeters margin on the right, and a 15, all the way through a 50 to 15 millimeters you leave. That is where in the middle you put your address block. You can all get that off the website of the post office. That's where I got it from. And your sticker you put here at the bottom. On the bottom left. I will show you photos of that just now. Right, here we fill in our stickers, our parcel stickers. You complete your post office stickers and ensure they correspond with the post office number on the emancipation documents. You must get this right. And then you place your post office stickers at the bottom left of the envelope and complete the empty space. This will be the name of the receiver of your letter. And please note, these are double stickers. So it's not just one sticker, there's 2. So if you can see here on both of them, recipient name, please print clearly, and you leave that on. At the bottom, you have ordinary parcel, your book copy and your customer copy. Those you can peel off and stick them onto the post office list that corresponds with your address, who it's addressed to. The rest of the sticker you peel off and stick it at the bottom of your envelope. Okay, I hope I'm making myself clear. It sounds very clumsy, but once you can always ask questions afterwards, and once you see it, it's actually quite easy. Here you can see I have the can everybody see my arrow? I hope you can. Here, ordinary parcel, that's your customer copy, which you have filled in. Mary Jane Doe is the sender. Office of the Master of the High Court, you write the address. It's if you're in Cape Town, this is the one. If you're somewhere in Joburg, it's different. And then you stick into this field, ordinary parcel, customer copy. And the same for SARS, Commissioner, Minister of Finance, and this is the letter you sent back to yourself. And this is now what it looks like with the blue paper, your tracing paper. It'll be exactly the same. The only thing is this will be the book copy. And the post office will keep that. So that is what it looks like, completed correctly. And you can just, if you have got 2 people, you can fit 4 on there onto this document. You can fit 4 or 2 people, so 8 can go on. But if they live at different addresses and you do it as a group, everybody should just get 1 page, and the bottom 4 you can leave open. That's not a problem. Here are your envelopes. And remember, you put your stamps on the right-hand side. You put your address in the middle. And your sticker, that post office sticker, as you can see here on the left-hand side, there it is stuck with where you filled in Master of the High Court. This is the one that was returned to us. We got it back. That's my copy that came back to me. All these other stickers that were left over, they have already used. Everybody takes them off the post office, the receivers. So that's not your problem, but it's come back to me. So that's the front page. You also have to cross the red line across, like we show it here, front and back. And your return address must also be on there. So you do that for all your 4 envelopes. Exactly the same. Office of the SARS Commissioner, there's also a little change that we've done. We now address it to him personally, Mr. Edmund Kieswetter. So we still say Office of SARS Commissioner, but we name him by the name. The reason I didn't put the Master of the High Court for Cape Town is that I don't know who he is. I tried to Google it. It doesn't seem to exist. If anybody has clarity on that, I would appreciate. We can then change this and improve it. Here is the letter to Minister of Finance, who is Mr. Enoch Godongwana, and you very much the same. And this is the letter to yourself. So this is how they look when they get posted and when they are ready and done to be sent off. Now, you've done all your letters. You've done your envelopes. You obviously don't put anything in those envelopes. Keep your papers still separate. Then you print out these 4 letters. Now, I've gone and said to the Commissioner of Oath, please stamp and approve of every single one of my pages. And they just point blank refused. They said, no, that's far too much. And I then designed this cover note, and that helped me with all the others that I've done, where I very clearly state, attached here too are copies of the following. Recording cover sheets. There are 3 recording cover sheets. That's why I all name them 1, because on your emancipation list, they are all seen as number 1. Master of the High Court, SARS Commissioner, and Minister of Finance. Then 2, 3 to number 7 is your deed of reconveyance, your assumed name, expatriation, cancellation of POA, claim of knife, and mandatory notice. That is now the letter that goes back to me. The letter to the High Court is Master of the High Court, and then, of course, 2 to 7, the same thing. And same with SARS Commissioner and Minister of Finance. So they will get that cover sheet. That will be the first thing they see when they open it. And this is all that the Commissioner or the Postmaster will stamp and sign and say that you've handed it in. And once you've done all that, and they have signed it and stamped it, only then at the post office, staple it only there. This is the summary for when you have children and you add your baby deed of land recordings. I'll just show you here what they look like. Baby deed of land recording, if you have 3 children, you go baby deed of land recording A, B, C, so that everyone knows there's 3 children, 4 children, however many children you have. Okay, now the send off. You make an appointment beforehand with the postmaster. If you do not have a functioning post office near you, you make use of a notary public, or you can go to a local police station. My first ones I did at the police station, and I later on learned very quickly that it's much easier at the post office. But we still have a very well-functioning post office in where we stay, so it was very easy. I made an appointment and I was in, and they were very friendly. They just stamped everything. Now, if you want them to be nice to you and friendly, because remember, they're all just people, they're not our enemy. And they're all just doing their best, trying to make a living, and they often don't know what's actually going on. And if we come in friendly, they will be friendly to you. So I always believe the more organized you are, the easier it is for them to see that what you're doing is legit, your paperwork is in order. Very often they don't even want to go and see that everything is correct and that it really is a true copy of your original. So I have 4 neat piles, which are my copies, and then my original, which the postmaster can check. And I explain to them, this is the original and these are my copies. My first copy is a color copy and the other 3 are black and white copies, so that they know. If they question your color copy saying it's an original, all you do is you turn around your original paper and see and show them how the thumbprint ink leaked and seeped through. And then you say, but look here on my copy, it doesn't seep through. It's because photocopies today really make good copies. And that normally calms them down a bit. Because I have had it that they refuse to sign my color copies saying they look like originals. So that was just like one little point to consider. And then you also help them paging through the original. So they page through the copies while you page through the original, like page for page. You just show them original, copy. And you also avert their eye to the bottom, your footer, where you can say, this is the Master of the High Court, this is SARS Commissioner, this is my cancellation of my POA, whatever it is. And they then suddenly see, oh, this is how it corresponds. Because they can't read the whole page. They get very confused sometimes. And then once they've seen and are happy, then you let them sign on your front page only. And that is this page here, these pages, they sign at the bottom here. There's so much space on this. This is an A4 page. There's more than enough space for them to stamp and sign. And just make sure nobody touches your original, that you put that straight back into your plastic sleeve and that you leave separate, that you also don't confuse it with your color copy. This is what they look like. And you can see those were still my early days before I had the 111. But here's the letter to the High Court, the deed of reconveyance, all my 7 copies, and with the stamp. And I still went to the police station. That's more than enough. They will see that it's all, that everything that's attached to this is part of your parcel. And only then do you staple it together. Staple them together, put them in your envelope, make sure you use the right envelope, double check again. High Court goes into High Court envelope. SARS goes into SARS envelope. Don't mix those up. Take your time. There are lots of counters at the post office where you can just put it into the correct envelopes, and then you can go to the counter and have them stamp your stamps. They come with a stamp and stamp it again, and you get a receipt. Keep that receipt. What you also do, you take a photo of your completed envelopes, like the ones you've seen of mine earlier on. You take a photo of your completed stamped envelopes, all of them, and also of your receipt, just that you have extra documentation and proof that you have done your send-off. You keep your receipt safe, and then you need to follow up on the whereabouts of your letter. There is a website that you can visit by the post office. It's very effective. You then see that your letters, the copy to yourself, the letters to all the departments has been sent. They tell you exactly where in the process they are online. And they don't keep your information forever. So as you go look in the weeks to come, it takes about 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. And by then your letter to yourself should be back. should be with you again. And also you can then track, have they gone to the letters, the government, have they gone or not? Make copies of that. They always allow you to save it and download it in a PDF and keep it together with your documentation. You also will have made a scanned copy of your original, and you keep all that documentation on your computer as well as hard copies. It's very important. Keep copies of everything. And remember that the post office doesn't keep your tracking details indefinitely. If you look again after 8 or 9 months, you will find it's all gone. Right. Keep your original in a safe space at home. We've put ours in a safe. It's the original, and we put it together with a letter. Once the envelope you mail to yourself arrives, do not open it. You keep that. Store it together with your original. And this now is your first step in your journey on how to live life in the private. You will only use that sealed envelope if ever you get into trouble. We always say, don't get into trouble. Don't push boundaries. Don't stick your head out unnecessarily. Once we have big numbers, we can start putting pressure on as a group. But for now, only if something really unfair happens, then you can send it, you can hand it over to whoever comes to your door or wherever you go. At the moment they've taken it and opened your envelope, they've contracted and you are free to go. So that is the reason you have that envelope to yourself, but just make sure nobody opens it. And yes, that is your first step. There is a lot more to learn. This emancipation and the completing of the documents is it's a process. It's very hands-on. And there will be a couple more steps that you do after this. Once you've received your papers, we won't go into details with that today. But emancipating and doing a status correction is a lifelong journey. You have to continue learning. There is so much to explore, and we're all learning every day as we go along, and we're finding out new things that we should be doing in our emancipations and how we have to deal with life as emancipated people. So become part of that group, become part of the family, research, join groups, and be the change you want to see in the world. And we thank you for that. And we wish all of you a very happy journey in these times that are so crazy. But there is a way out, and we can do this. And remember, it's our birthright to not just survive, but thrive. Thank you, everybody. That's the end of the presentation.
Thank you, Zita, for your presentation. Much appreciated. Thank you, everybody, and good night all. Good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Good night,
Charlotte.
all. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.